100 shares of ticker MSTY. How much do you get in dividends? What is the price return? And how does it stack up to all the other dividend ETFs we talk about on this channel? Welcome back, guys. My name is Spencer, and I talk about dividend investing, income investing specifically through these income ETFs that have been making tons of people a ton of money. And so I'm going over today what 100 shares would get you in ticker MSTR. Is it worth it for the money you have to put in? What's the percentage return? I'm going to start doing this series. It's a new series. It's the first episode where I'm going to compare the returns versus all these other stocks, whether it be the weekly payers, more of the YieldMax funds, just to see how much money you're actually getting versus how much money you're actually putting in. And so that's what's key. And MSTY is a very popular one. I'll probably do QDTE as well as a lot of the other weekly pairs just to see how they compare to each other. And I'm going to do a lot of calculations with this. It's going to be very math heavy. And so I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, let me know in the comments down below. I'm excited for this new series, and I hope you guys are as well. If you guys like income investing, if you like dividends, making money in the stock market, you're in the right place. If you want to stay up to date, don't forget to like and subscribe so you guys don't miss the next videos. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Let's roll the intro. I'm sure a lot of people are really freaked out with what is going on in the market. We've had tariffs, we've had conflicts, world conflicts. There's a lot of stuff going on that is just thrashing all of our favorite ETFs, all of our favorite stocks, and MSTY is a victim to this as well. We actually reached nearly an all-time low on the year chart anyway. We fell into the 19s again. And then it bounced back up into the 20s and is sitting at the low 20s still. Now, remember, last time it did this, it hit the 19s and then it soared all the way up to $44, which was an insane run. Absolutely insane. It was up 120% in price. If you can make money on price appreciation with these funds, people talk about NAV erosion, and I see it because there are periods of crazy NAV erosion. But if you can bring up all this much money just in your price return, you're doing absolutely insane. But now it is down 51% since that high, which we can't tell the highs and the lows. We just do what we can. All the while, you're getting paid out insane dividends. So that's why, like, maybe it's time for me to open a larger position in MSTY and just hold it for the long run. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but I am very, very interested in it, as well as MSTR itself, because those ones have just been they've been doing really well up to the last couple of weeks. And I haven't even checked on MSTR recently. So this is a fun new series. Basically, I want to see how much money you make from 100 shares. Is it worth it? How much money you have to invest? There's a lot of factors that go into these income investments because we do have, like, on the year, it's down almost 39%. How big of an impact is that going to have on the distribution rate, on all these things? So we're going to pull up the YieldMax website. You guys have seen it before. I'm going to do a quick overview for those that might be newer or those who need to brush up, because there are some things people really mistake about these funds quite often that I do want to point out. They have a distribution rate of 121.05%, which is actually a little bit lower. Yes, if you can believe it or not, that is a little bit lower than what I calculated. And I'll show all that. We're going to do all of that together. And so we can see the fund does not directly invest in MSTR. And that's an important factor. So these funds are not growth funds. These are income ETFs. You are not holding these for the price to go from 20 to 40, because typically they don't do that. That's not their purpose. While it has done it in the past, and maybe it will do it again in the future, that's growth investing. This is an income investment ETF, meaning they're trying to pay you immediately. And so we can see the last couple of distributions, it has ranged from $4 all the way down to $1.85. It paid out less than $2 a couple times last year, and it's kicked back up. Will we be going back under the $2 mark? I sure hope not, but there is a fair chance since we are seeing some similarities there. Now, I'm going to show all of that on Seeking Alpha as well, which gives us a second view into the dividend history and a chart feature that I really, really like. But again, fund overview. The YieldMax MSTR Option Income Strategy ETF, ticker MSTY, is an actively managed fund that seeks to generate monthly income. It pursues a strategy that aims to harvest compelling yields while retaining capped participation in the price gains of MSTR. So if you're big on MSTR and you think it's going to go absolutely insane, maybe you should look at more growth investments. This, again, it's not focused on that. You're going to be capped. So if you bought 100 shares of MSTR and 100 shares of MSTY, or you put $1,000 into each and MSTR ran 50%, MSTY is not going to run 50%. I will just say that now. It's not the point of the fund. If you wanted to do that, if you wanted that 50% run, you should have just purchased MSTR. And we don't know what it's going to do, but the investment objective is exposure to the share price, so you do get some gains if MSTR does good. And of course, we want high implied volatility for these option contracts, but we do want MSTR to consistently go up. It's just better overall. But then you are limited on the gains. So you want it to go up slowly, not up quickly, but a lot of volatility in between. You want it to go all over the place. We can see net assets, $2.24 billion, huge. And of course, gross expense ratio is 0.99%. It is higher than a lot of funds. You can get some dividend ETFs that don't pay high yields that are like 0.03%. So it's drastically higher than what a lot of old-fashioned investors are used to. I say old-fashioned, including myself, because I saw this yield or this expense ratio, and I was like, holy smokes. I saw the yield, and I was like, holy smokes. And so it's just new. It's new compared to what a lot of older style investors are used to. And that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's going to take us some time to warm up to it, though. I'm curious to see how it performs. And that's kind of it. We can see the performance. The 1 year's up 132%. The last couple of months have been really beaten down. 6 months it's still doing okay. But we're going to check in all of that on the drip calculator as well to see how much this pullback has affected the total return. It's really interesting how this has played out. We can see, again, it did drop in September, October. It did pay a dividend in August. I'm not sure why the chart isn't showing that, but then it started kicking out $4.42 a share, which is absolutely insane. This was at that peak point in the market, I believe. And so we've sold back off a little bit. We're going to run our calculation on the 100 shares based off of the dividend that I'm going to calculate from this last payment. But, you know, it's not too bad. Like, for a fund that's paying out this high and the return is this insane, I'm pleasantly surprised. I really am. We can see it is also kind of moving back up. We've seen it move all over, and the dividends are not going to be consistent because a lot of it depends on what's going on in the market. So if you're interested in monthly income that's very consistent, it's probably not the fund for you. We can also see they give it an A+ on the dividend yield trailing 12 months because it's 146%. No surprise. The annual payout, $31.81 per share, is absolutely insane. Now, this is calculated. It's the sum of ordinary cash dividend payments in the last 12 months by the last close price. So that's actually a big deal. That's really, really interesting because they are factoring in the price at the end of that month as well. So it gives you some price comparisons. So we're going to throw this back in the drip calculator. I guarantee if you haven't looked at a drip calculator on MSTY, you're going to be very, very shocked by what it pulls up. Pulling up dividendchannel.com drip calculator, look at what this thing has done. MSTY. If you had invested $10K in February of 2024, you'd be sitting at a 200% return. Your $10K would be $30,000 with dividends reinvested. With dividends not reinvested, your $10K would be $25,000. So not a lot of variation there, surprisingly, with the dividends. You guys know I love drip. I drip on almost all my stuff, but it has sold off quite a bit. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's tough. It's tough to see if you had bought anywhere near the peak. It's hard. For our $1,000 invested into YieldMax funds, it actually was. I can't remember when I bought. I bought definitely higher than it is now. So it is beaten down a little bit, but that's just how these go sometimes. Depends on the market. Depends on what's going on. You have had $31.81 in dividends per share paid out, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And again, I was thinking about this today. I've never done this, but I kind of want to start doing it. If you had drip on during this period where it was trading relatively consistently, it's not overbought, it's consistent, it's solid, and then the minute it started launching up, what if you turned off drip and just held that cash? And then when it starts selling back off, trailing back down, you start turning on drip again. I've never done that. It seems like a very simple way to make more money unless this thing continues going up at a record pace. But maybe I'll have to try that. I think it could be fun. A little bit more of an actively managed portfolio style for like if you're looking at it like a retirement portfolio. But it could be really useful. It could make you quite a bit of money. That's just my thought. But all in all, people say MSTY is a terrible fund. It's never going to make you money. Some people have made a ton of money on this fund. And I myself was very skeptical at the beginning. You know, I was like, there's no way it's paying at 100% return or 100% dividends. The returns are insane. There is some NAV erosion, but it's not as terrible. You know, you're still positive on your money. I never would have expected that. And yet here we are. It is definitely one of the most popular ETFs talked about on the channel. One of the most popular ETFs talked about on Reddit, Twitter, TikTok. Absolutely everything. People seem to love this fund. I get comments on it on nearly every video, no matter what I'm talking about. So MSTY, it's doing pretty well. We're going to jump into our next segment, which is our calculator. And this is a really, really key portion. I'm going to show you guys how I'm calculating the dividends for this fund. So we have everything plugged in here. We have MSTY, the absolutely insane ETF. We have 100 shares, and that comes out to $2,177. The share price currently $21.77, so that makes sense. I'm not contributing annually, no dividend taxes, and the dividend yield. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to calculate it right now. So we know that the last dividend was $2.02. We're going to multiply this by 13 because it does pay out 13 times a year, not 12. And then we're going to divide this number by the current share price of $21.77, and then multiply that by 100 to give us our yield. And so our yield for the last month was 120.62% annually, which is pretty insane. So 120.62. A really solid return, like a really solid yield for sure. We will have to factor in the return as well, though, because we're down 20% in the last month. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to plug this in. We're going to plug it in for 1 year. And in 1 year, at the rate of the last month's dividend, you would make $2,625.90 in dividends, which is crazy. So your total money is what? $4,700. A crazy, crazy return. But we have to factor something else in again because we're down. We'll factor it in. I want to fix something though. It's not 20% because we're not investing for just the month. This is what was paid out based off last month's dividend that we're using. But total, we're down 39%. So we have to take our initial amount, which is $2,177. We're going to multiply it by 0.39. And that gives us $849 lost. So then we're going to do 2177 minus 849. 849. And that gives us $1,328 left of our initial balance, plus what we've been paid out for the year, which was 2625.9. So you're at $3,953, which is solid. That's very, very solid, even with losing all of that money in your NAV. And again, this is all based off just the last month's dividend yield as well as the total return for the year. Because if you bought lower, you could literally skyrocket back up like we've seen MSTY do. And that's why so many people are such big fans of this fund. But let's see. So over a year, we're going to divide this by what your initial cost is. All right, swapped it. 2177 divided by 39539. And boom, you have 0.55, which means multiply that by 100. And you're looking at a 55% return. So again, looking at the yield, it's not all about, oh, the yield has been absolutely insane. You know, it factors in more to how much money you're actually going to make. So what you would make off of your 100 shares for roughly 1 year is 55%. And that's absolutely crazy what this fund is doing. I really can't believe it, but it's just solid. And the math is there. I've been pausing because I've been checking my math over and over and over again. And I threw it into the drip calculator and I got just a few percentages different. So it is true. Your 55% is your return. You're actually getting roughly, so with $2,177 invested, you're getting about almost $1,800 profit, which is insane. Absolutely crazy. And this is, again, based off just the last year, focusing in on that last dividend payment and percentage. So if it does better, if the price goes up and you make 50% on that as well, you're going to be well over 100% in doubling your money with MSTY. Do we know what it's going to do? No. Maybe it's going to reach new lows. Maybe not. I'll be here and along for the ride. But that's how much 100 shares will net you $2,625.90 in 1 year with ticker MSTY for a total return of 55%. Your NAV is down 40%, but your return is up 55%, which is absolutely crazy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know any feedback if you want me to change it up. It was a little bit more confusing, but I will definitely polish it the more videos I put out as well. Next time, I don't know what video I'm going to do next for this 100 shares. So let me know what stocks you want to see down below in the comments. As well, if you guys enjoyed this video, you're probably going to enjoy these popping up on your screen right now, like our weekly dividend ETF update that's been doing absolutely phenomenally. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.